Hello everyone and welcome to today's Replit 101 and the since renamed Coding Helpline, where we're going to take you through the basics of Replit for all our new coders and new users to Replit, whilst also taking the second part of today's hour to take on your difficult programming challenges. Are you stuck with some PHP? Is your Python not really going according to plan? Well, pop your questions in today's chat and we'll make sure that we can try our very best to fix it. I would just like to point out that I'll try my best, but sometimes we may have to refer the questions to other more knowledgeable people, but we will give it a go. Anyway, welcome to Replit 101. What is Replit? Well, Replit, hopefully you know, is the online IDE, the fastest way to go from coding to hosting to having a full-on hosted application in minutes. It is now also one of the fastest ways to build code, and it's all in your browser and all for free. Replit is a fantastic product. I myself, if I'm in the right window, I myself am David Morgan. I am the teacher and customer success dude here at Replit, and I was a full-time high school teacher for the best part of the last 20 years. I found Replit many, many years ago, and it really changed the way I teach. But more than that, it changed the way that I actually code. It's been a very, very long time since I had up-to-date IDEs installed locally on my machine. And it's very rare that I do any coding outside of Replit full stop. And I do a lot of programming. So it has really changed the way I work and is the way of the future. If you are interested in getting involved in the coding helpline today, please pop your question in the chat and I will favorite them and we'll come back to them and work through them later. You can come up to the stage and share your screen if you'd like, but that's not necessary. Just be aware that if you do come up and share your screen or you come on camera, you are consenting to us using the recording later on. Okay, so major question is, what is Replit? Well, apart from being an online IDE, I like to think of Replit this way. It might be a collaborative browser-based IDE, but what it really is this. It's freedom from the tyranny of the install. You can get coding in seconds by going to replit.com and clicking create. It takes no time at all to get set up and working with all of that. It's freedom from updates. It's freedom from being pinged halfway through a coding session to restart VS Code. It is a massive amount of things, but freedom is the thing I feel every time I go in there. It's also saving you time because you don't have to keep anything updated. We do it all for you and we make sure everything works. The time it takes to get coding and to get in that flow is measured in milliseconds, not the minutes it sometimes takes to boot up something like Xcode and get stuck into it. It's also this, it's a way of making money because Replit does allow you to not only code and share and work in a team, but it also hosts and puts your product out there for the world to use. We've got ways of sharing it in our community, but there are lots of businesses that do all their work simply through hosting their software in Replit. And the vast majority of what you might want to do can be done completely for free. So let's get started and let's explore. So this is the Replit website. Once you're logged in, it's very, very simple to make an account. Of course, you can make an account with just your email address and a password, or you can log in through Google if you want to, or there's some other SSO options. I'm logged into my account here just so we can get started and get working. And the number one question I often get asked is, how do we get that menu popping up on the left? Well, it's just the hamburger button. This thing up here in the top right that looks like 3 lines brings up this menu. And this side panel is where most of the action goes on. I'm sure we'll come back and take a look at this homepage again in a few minutes, but let's get in and let's get coding. So how do we do that? Well, it's very, very simple. There's a big create button. And once we click that, we get prompted to pick our programming language. Now, we advertise ourselves as supporting 50 plus programming languages, but the honest and real answer is that we support an infinity of programming languages because of the way Replit is built. it'll suggest some to you as you scroll down here. And it's all the classics: Python, C, C++, C Sharp, things like Ruby. But if we keep scrolling, you'll see the list just gets longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. And actually, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different programming languages that we support on Replit. And if we don't support the one you want to use, you can actually get it working yourself because of the Nix backend that we use to run all these REPLs. I'm going to pick Python because it is one of the most popular programming languages in the world. Now, once you've done that, you can give it a name. I quite like the random names that are generated there. What have we got today? We've got acidic small mathematics. Always give me a chuckle. But let's call this Replit 101 first program. I can't spell tonight. I apologize. I say tonight. It's tonight for me. Now, I've got the ability to make my REPLs private because I pay for a hacker plan, which is $7 a month, and gives me the option to make my REPLs private. If you have the free account, all your REPLs will be public by default. I'm going to create a public REPL now. And you can see straight away I've got into that IDE and it's connecting and I'm ready to go. Now, that is amazing. If I were to try and load VS Code now on my Mac, we'd be here for the best part of 5 minutes whilst it installed plugins and updates and generally just got started and got running. Replit is so quick and so easy to get into a program. Now on the left here, we have our file pane where we can drag and drop and upload files just like we would anywhere else. This is a full file tree. And you can add all the files, dependencies, images, and assets that you might want. Now, down the bottom here, we've got the resources that your REPL's currently using. Now, for free, we get half a CPU core, but you can see there that my REPL is not doing much at the moment, but it is sort of pottering along. And you can see how much you're using and whether you need more resources as you use your REPL. But let's build some Python. Our code editor is here in the middle, and we can just get started. I click run, my code is going to run in the console. That quick, no fuss. The nice thing about this is that if you have an idea, you can get to coding very, very quickly. It takes very little time to go from idea to code. And also, my code is available to you straight away. If I click my name up here, I can show you the cover page for this, which is already shareable. So you could go in and you could see my program, or you could run it directly in there to see what it does, which I think is pretty damn cool. We pride ourselves at Replit at building a full IDE interface. Not just, this isn't a toy. This is a way for people to build and develop software on a massive scale. Now, we do have all the standard things that you'd expect in IDE. For instance, we do have things like code intelligence. So if I start typing something, it will suggest the rest of what's happening. Program here is just taking in something very, very simple for me from text, and we'll print out in a moment. As well as code intelligence, that suggestions and autocompletes and things like that, we've also got our new closed beta, Ghostwriter. Now, what Ghostwriter is an artificially intelligent part of Replit that allows us to type in full text prompts and get code back. It is really, really powerful. If you haven't seen that in action, please do have a look at our CEO Amjad tweeting about it on Twitter, where you'll see some brilliant information about it. Or go to our blog, where we're going to read about the new generation of artificial intelligent Ghostwriter AI that helps you write code. And on the left-hand side here, we've got our files pane for adding files, and it is as simple as dragging and dropping. I'll just find a very quick image that we could put up here. Here we go. I've got an image and I'm just dragging it over to the file pane. And if I let go, it uploads that quickly. I can rename it. Now I can refer to that in my code, or I can use it in a website. It is unbelievably quick how fast we can do that. We also have Github integration, so you can connect it to your GitHub account and you can use it to push or pull from a repo. We have a package manager, so all the standard packages, all the extensive libraries that you get on Python, you can bring in quite easily and install them. So no messing with pip or anything like that you might have done on your computer at home. And that's a big stumbling block for me. As a teacher, I always loved teaching how to do something cool, how to bring in a library to make a Discord bot. And when I was teaching back in the old days with standalone IDEs, that was always really difficult because everyone would try to install them on their different computers in different setups, and everyone would get a different error message. Well, with Replit, I can bring in any package I want very, very quickly, and we know it's going to install and be repeatable. We've also got a way of storing system secrets and variables directly in the system here that are only accessible to the REPL, and you won't see those if you were sharing them. So things like API keys or passwords can go in here and be used in your code without giving them away. We've got a debugger, so we are able to step through the code and run in a true debugging fashion, just like you would in any other IDE. But unlike other IDEs, we have our own database, an online key value store that allows you to do simple data storage directly in the browser. We've also got Repl Authentication, which is one of the most magical experiences ever. When we build a web app in a few moments' time, I'm going to turn it on, and we will have the ability for a user to authenticate themselves in one click. It is absolutely magical how quickly we can get authentication built in. We also have unit testing, which will allow us to write tests that will automatically be run when we make our code, which is brilliant if you're building a substantial piece of software, because what you really want to do is automate your testing. And the best part about it is that the code I write, I can share with somebody else almost straight away. We have a feature called multiplayer, which is where we can do a Google Docs-like experience of more than one person typing in the same file at the same time. Better than that, we can bring multiple people to this REPL. The invite link up here will allow me to invite people by username to a REPL, and I'm going to invite this handsome chap here. Just so happens to be me. And I'm going to switch very quickly to a different browser. And I'll show you what this looks like, because multiplayer is a game changer. You may have worked on projects with other people before and found it quite difficult to coordinate all that stuff going back and forth. I'm going to get myself an invite link so I can get straight there. You may even have worked on big projects on Git and found the pushing and pulling to be a step up from where you are at the moment. But multiplayer is a very intuitive and easy to use way for teams to work together. For instance, on my other computer now, I am in the same REPL. You can see that orange line there is the cursor of my other computer. And I'll get typing over here. And that's coming up live, and I can see where I am. I can even actually watch by clicking on my avatar here where that user is and what they're doing. And so we can work together. And it's even more impressive because it's not just typing in text here. If I were to run the console, you'll see it running on that screen at the same time. And again, this is me typing on a different computer. I'm not typing on the screen you see at the moment. That multiplayer experience can be had with dozens of people. It is a really, really powerful thing, and you can work in teams easily and quickly and get more work done. It is brilliant. If you've never used it before, please do go and play with it. It is one of the nicest features that we have. If we want to leave comments to each other on the code, we could leave comments as we have here, but we've got another thing called threads, and a thread is an inline comment. So I can say, why haven't we printed anything out, if I can spell. Now that comment then goes to my collaborators, and I can see that and I can reply to it. You'll see those popping on there, so you can have a conversation in line. When you fixed it, click resolve, and that comment has disappeared. We've also got a chat here, a general chat in the REPL, or the ability to see the ones that we've got rid of. What I really like about it is that if you look at it from this view, you always see a sample of the code that the information is written about, which I think is absolutely legendary. So the collaboration features built in there are a really powerful way for you to work in teams or for you to work in groups of people. And particularly impressive, I think, is the fact that all this comes for free. This is just what Replit does. And so you can get stuck into a group project or build something cool in seconds, even if you don't live in the same country or you're collaborating with somebody in a completely different time zone. It is amazing. Let's have a little look around Replit a moment and see what else we've got. Let's just check that I'm covering everything. Right. Okay. So this idea of forking is amazing. Now, in software development, forking is where we take a copy of the code. And that normally means that we can go and do something different to it. Now, on Replit, we have a community. Our community trending tab here shows us all the most popular REPLs at the moment published by people in our community. And at the moment, we've got a bunch of those stable diffusion ones going. Ironclad Dev, an amazing member of our community, has got a good one going here. But if there's something you like here, for instance, maybe you like a blocky tower game, you can run it and you can play it right in the browser. So I have no idea how to play this game, so I apologize if I'm terrible at it, but that's cool. Okay, so I like that. What we can do, if you'd like to take a copy of that code yourself, is click this big fork button up in the top right. Now, what this will do is it'll take a copy of this code into my account. So I'm going to do that now. Now, that copies everything, the assets, the code, everything into my account. So I now have, excuse me, I now have all of that code and the ability to run it. And interestingly, this is in a language called Kaboom, which is our very own game development language, which makes it very easy to run things. You can see all this stuff I've got here. And if I were to click run, we should hopefully end up with a working game. There we go. In browser. And if I want to change things, I can go in and have a look at the code. So let's see what we've got. Let's see if I can find something to change that would be quite exciting for us. Maybe something that will help us score very highly. Let's have a look. I haven't done this code, and you can see I can edit any of this stuff and then run it again to see what's going on. I can't see anything obvious, but I can find this bit, press enter to start. Let's change that and see if we can run the game differently. Stop it. Let's run it again. And let's see if I've managed to edit code that actually does anything. Because that's always an interesting thing. Maybe I didn't enter the right piece of code. Never mind. But whatever you change on here will change in the game. And it's actually quite fun to go through this code that somebody's written, and it's really quite complicated, and see if you can find ways to make that game a little bit nicer. What I normally tend to do is look for the score variables and see if we can increase that score so I look like I'm a super champion at a game, when in fact I'm not great. Not very good at video games, unfortunately. I do try, I do practice. Forking a REPL then gives you a copy of it. So that means if you've got something that you think is really cool, you can take a copy of it, you can customize it, and you can even improve upon it or change it for your own purposes. And I think that's one of the most powerful things about Replit, is that idea that all the code that is public, you can fork in a second and start editing it and playing with it yourself. That amount of flexibility is amazing. Now, we've also got a new following feature where we can follow our favorite creators. You can see I've got my following feed here, see what everyone's up to. and I can go in and I can see anything new that's going on, any comments people have made, and engage with them. The community tab then is one of the most important things in Replit, because Replit is not a place for you to go and code and that's it. It is a place for you to share your projects and get involved in our community. And our community is very vibrant and full of lots of clever, cool people doing exciting things. You can publish the community, you can get involved in discussions, you can use the community tab to see all the amazing things people are building and talk about them, and even see the updates that we're giving. If I were interested, for instance, in Python, which we were just in, I might click on the Python tag and see all the Python projects. And this one looks interesting. So I'm going to run this, and if I like it, I might even fork it and use it for myself. It does make me feel like I am a hacker, actually. It makes me feel like I'm the Matrix or something. The community feature is brilliant because there is a massive community of people that love programming and love sharing their work and are willing to help and support. And maybe you could make a team who could make software that could make a decent bit of money. That would be amazing. We also have the ability to learn. If you're a new coder, that's great for you. The Learn tab gives you access to 2 new tutorials, making a website and drawing images with code with P5.js, and the ability to remix a project, so to fork these and change them, built in to show you these things. We also have a bunch more tutorials and semi-spoilers, some really cool stuff coming very, very soon. The other place to go is your repls. My repls is just my profile. You see I've got my little picture there, my little blurb about me, all my social links, and all my repls. Now, because I am a hacker, I've got the ability to hide some of them. So you'll see that some of them are private, whereas others are public. In a free account, all your repls will be public. So if somebody goes to your profile page, they will see what you're working on. Now, you can purchase a hacker subscription to get the ability to make things private and also to give your repl a few more resources. If I go into our first programming repl again, and I go up to the title, you'll see that I've got 2 options here, always on. Now that means your repl will always be running in the background. And that's a really useful thing to have. If you're running a Discord bot or something similar to that, that's a good thing to have. That's only available on Hacker Plan, which again is $7 a month, as well as Boost, which increases your CPU time speed by 2x, which again, if you're writing something really reasonably complex, is a good thing to have. Now, if you don't want to sign up for $7 a month, you can use our virtual currency, which is Cycles. Cycles will allow you to purchase things like Boost and Always On an individual basis for a smaller fee, which is well worth doing if you've got 1 or 2 needs and you don't need that hacker plan constantly there in the background for the high users. With all that in mind, then, let's take a quick look at doing something interesting. Let's make a website that you can all go to straight away. Hosting websites on Replit is, again, totally free and very, very easy. I'm going to call mine example link tree because it's always handy to have a link tree. And I'm sure some of you pay for a link tree because the pretty ones, some people do. Now, this is a web page. This is all written in HTML. If I go into here and change the code and click refresh, you'll see that on the right-hand side, it updates with the text I've just written. In fact, let's be a bit more exciting than that. Let's put a H1 tag in there. So H1 tag is a heading tag, and that will give me a wonderful heading. And let's put some links in. I'm going to use paragraph tag first of all. We start that with a lowercase tag, because otherwise people will be cutting at me for not using the correct case. Paragraph tag just means a paragraph of text. In there, I'm going to add a link with an ahref. I'll fill that in a second. Now, an A tag is an anchor tag. Basically means that anything that goes between those 2 tags, I'm going to turn into a hyperlink. Now, let's link to Replit, first of all. I'm going to go in here and put the website address in. And we need the https:// bit because that's the protocol bit. That's the bit that basically says you need to go to a different website to get this. If I refresh, you'll see that that link goes in there. Now, here's the amazing part, because having done what, a minute of coding, that website is already published and already viewable. If I click this button to open it in a new tab, I will get my web page exactly as it exists on the internet at the moment, with a working hyperlink. If you don't believe me, I'll paste the address in the chat. Go and have a look. Visit my amazing one link, one title website that I've built in 2 seconds. Now, just imagine how quickly and easily you could build something really, really cool, like a portfolio website for your business, or a simple link tree to link on your TikTok bio, something like that you could build in a few minutes, or take your time, do it over a few hours, and that is shared and published instantly with the world. This level of freedom has been unheard of until Replit, because we can build whatever we want and publish it straight away. We've also got that amazing Repl Auth. If I turn that on now, I need to add this in and that in. And now what I have is a website that needs you to be logged in with Replit to use. So I've actually had the ability to have user accounts and users that have been validated to use my site. So if I'm building something that I don't want to spam on, I've done that. Did you see how quick that was? 3 clicks. Turn it on, import the packages, and get the user information. It is so easy to add Repl Auth. And if I show you what that looks like, with a bit of a reload, hopefully, which it might not be doing it for me at the moment because I am already on the site. We'll go and have a look at the other one. There we go. To log in with Replit is as simple as popping up a page that says, would you like me to log in? And you say, okay. And then it should kick us back and show me the website. Authentication is complicated. As a teacher, I've spent weeks teaching students how to build authentication into their apps. And now you can do it in 3 clicks. We'd love to see what you build if you build something cool on Replit. Now, where can I get help? It's really important that people that use Replit also know where they can go to get help, because the community is really vibrant. First of all, the community tab itself, you can post your code and you can ask for help on there, but really what that is a place for you to share completed projects. But there is a place to go if you are stuck, and that is our discourse, which is going to be ask.replit.com. Now, this is a thriving community page where you can go in and ask for help on code or with Replit itself. For instance, if I go into the Python, these are all the questions people have been asking about Python code recently that have had replies and other community members helping out. In fact, this is so useful that I tend to run through it myself. If I've got a problem, go here first. So ask.replit.com is genuinely a really good place to go if you've got any issues that you can't solve on your own. We've also got our community. And of course, if you are having a problem with Replit itself, there's an easy place to go to get help. By clicking on the hamburger button, we can go to the question mark at the bottom and contact support. That will pop up a little box and will allow you to contact support and even record your screen directly from there if you have any issues. And our support team are the best. They're brilliant. If you have any problem, they're amazing. We do also have a Discord server if you like to hang around on there, have a chat to people with similar interests, and get involved in cool coding challenges and things like that. And all in all, I'd say Replit is a pretty amazing tool. And the vast majority of it is completely free. Okay, we're at the point now where we have time to go into our coding helpline. Now, the way we normally do this is that I will run through the questions and see if we've got any at the moment. If we have, we'll address those. But otherwise, I will be disappearing and leaving this screen up, and you are more than welcome to leave your coding questions in the chat, and I'll pop back on and deal with them. So let's have a quick look what we've got. So we've got some fans of Replit commenting, which is always nice to see. Jesse, yes, I was a teacher until very recently, and I would always encourage it to use it in my class. Okay, question here. I was using the editable embedded features for interactive examples. It's no longer available. The issue we had with editable embedded REPLs that didn't require a login was that they were a bit of a security hole. There is a blog post which talks about that, as well as a blog post when they were retired. As far as I'm aware, if you are logged in, embeddable REPLs are currently still working, but we are trying to move away from that for security reasons. Hopefully, the cover page version, where you simply click on it and it takes you to the Replit website logged in, will be a good alternative. And certainly, it's better to have good security on such a complex system than an embed that might have some security implications. Please do stay tuned for news and all that, though, because the blog is the place to go when we are talking about feature additions and things that are changing. It's always worth keeping an eye on that if there is a feature like that that you rely on. But Jester, if you are running a course and you do want those features, we do have a free product called Teams for EDU, which is a way of bundling up and sending pieces of work out and marking them, even automatically in some cases, for your students, which is a free product if you're a teacher. Please do get in contact. Please do give me a chat if you want to find out more about that. Because actually, I tell you what, tomorrow evening, tomorrow this time, we are doing I'm doing another live stream where I'm going through the basics of Teams for EDU, which is that product that's good for teachers and learners. So please do jump in tomorrow. The links are all on Eventbrite if you'd like to see that. Or please feel free to drop me an email. I will pop my email in the comments for you if you'd like to chat about it more, or if you'd like a bit more information. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's probably the issue at the moment. But just keep your eye on those embeds because things are happening with them. Okay, thanks, Chester, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And hopefully, I'll be able to give you a look into everything that's happening with Teams for EDU. I can't see any of the questions at the moment which are specifically about coding, which is a bit of a shame because that's what we're really here for. And nobody has yet challenged me with a coding question that I've been stuck on. There's a challenge for you all watching this. If you can find me a coding question that you've been stuck on that flummoxes me, so far I have 100% success record, which is pretty cool. But what I'm going to do now is I'll leave this slide up. If you do have any questions, please pop them in the chat and I shall return with haste to make sure that I can try and solve them for you. Don't forget, this is a fortnightly live stream. I'll stop saying that. Every 2 weeks live stream where we mainly aim to take coding questions. So please do share, tell your friends, tell everyone that we will be here doing that on a 2 weekly basis. So if you do have interesting coding questions, please bring them along. For now, I'll say goodbye. But if you do have a question, please drop it in the chat and we'll make sure to try and answer it for you. I'm just going to pop back on a second to just show people where that link is once again to get help. Because if you are experiencing problems with the site, there's a bunch of stuff that it could be. It's most often local configuration issues, to be perfectly honest. But if we don't know about issues, we can't fix them. So please do click the hamburger button, click the question mark, and click contact support. If you are having issues, videos of the issue that's happening by clicking record screen, for instance, and as much information and REPL links as possible as to what's going on, help us diagnose issues and get things fixed. Because as I said, our support team are the best. They are, honestly, they are an amazing bunch of people, and they will work diligently to make sure that you get the best experience. But we can't help unless we get as much information as possible. So please do use this feature of the Replit website to give us as much information about any problems you have, and we'll get straight on to trying to fix it. Well, we get to the end of our session now. I have one question just popping up, but I have to be honest, I don't know the answer. We've got there at last, a question that I am flummoxed by. Brilliant. What I will do is I will pass this question on. If you'd like to drop me an email, I'll pop my email up on the screen for you now, if I can find it. There we go. If you could drop me an email with that question, I can pass it on to somebody that knows a bit more about this than I do. Sorry, this is mainly coding questions that I was expecting, not questions on the actual Replit workspace. But Walnut Roach, if you could drop me a quick email with that question, I will make sure it gets to the right place and I'll investigate for you. But thank you very much, everyone, today for getting involved in Replit 101 and not so much questions for coding helpline this week, but hopefully in a fortnight's time, we'll have a bunch of questions that we can actually get our teeth into. Thank you very much for joining in, and please do tell your friends. And just remember, my email's there on the screen, Walnut Roach, if you want to drop me an email with it, and I'll see what I can find out for you. Okay, thank you, and enjoy using Replit. He waves, unable to click a simple button to put the last screen on. Here we go. Thank you, everyone.